Hello guys, welcome to Solid Tutorial. Now we shall see the important points or the difference between HTTP cookies and HTTP session with cookies. So just now I have covered both the topics, session tracking using HTTP cookies and HTTP session with the cookies. So let us see now the difference between HTTP cookies and HTTP session with cookies. So first difference is while working with HTTP session with cookies technique in session tracking, the browser window is identified as a client during a session based on its session ID. For this, server sends the session ID of a session object to browser window along with the response once the session object is created for that browser window on the server. So whereas in HTTP cookies based session tracking technique, the client data is remembered or preserved during a session in the form of cookie values at client side. So this is the major difference between HTTP session with cookies and HTTP cookies. The next difference is in HTTP session with cookies technique, the client data is remembered or preserved during a session in the form of session attribute values of HTTP session object. Here cookie is used to remember session ID during a session. So whereas in HTTP session with the cookies technique, in HTTP session with cookies technique in session tracking, the cookie generated and holding the session ID is automatically generated in memory cookies, and programmer cannot make as a persistent cookie. So in HTTP session with the cookies technique, the cookie that is generated holding session ID is automatically generated in memory cookies, and programmer cannot make that cookies as a persistent cookies. So these are the two differences between HTTP session with the cookies and HTTP cookies. Okay guys, now let us see one more new interview question.